Hello everybody. So today I wanted to do another haul. I feel like I have been buying way too many books, but that's fine. It's fine. I have 4 books that I got pretty recently within the past few weeks. I also think I had 2 other books I had shown you in one of the last videos that I filmed. To be fair, one of them was my book of the month, so I get sent that automatically. But yes, I wanted to share 4 other books that I ended up getting because I can't help myself, and a record. Alright, the first book I got is Recitation by Bae Sua. She is a South Korean writer. I wasn't too familiar with this book. I just saw it randomly on Amazon, and I always like to pick up books by Korean authors. I like to read books from all over the world. I just think it's good to round out, what you're reading, not reading just from one area, but broadening your perspective by reading from other authors of different cultures and different experiences. And I just particularly feel a connection with South Korean authors. So I'll read you the back. It says, with lyrical elegance, Recitation traces the intermingling lives of a mysterious wandering actress and a chorus of immigrants who meet by chance at a train station late one night in Bae Sua's fragmentary and contrapuntal? I have no idea what that word means. Contrapuntal, of or in counterpoint. Okay, contrapuntal. So it's talking about counterpoint in music with 2 or more independent melodic lines, of or in counterpoint. The counterpoint is the relationship between 2 or more musical lines which are harmonically interdependent yet independent in rhythm and melodic contour. Okay. That fits with the description of lyrical in my mind. That sounds connected. Okay, yes, in Bae Sua's fragmentary and contrapuntal meditation on travel. I don't know if I'm saying it right though. I'm gonna stop repeating that word. Meditation on travel, language, and memory. Kyung-hee, a former recitation actress, lives a stateless existence, recalls tales of unexpected friendships, mythical dreams, healers, and shamans, and as her story unfolds, her voice begins to fade in a gradual unraveling of identity, overtaken by the chorus as they find themselves wondering what makes a person and if Kyung-hee ever truly existed. It just sounds very interesting. There's another book I saw that was recommended by the same author. I can't remember what it was called, but when I checked the reviews, one of them mentioned that it was basically Bae Sua's retelling or interpretation of the story The Blind Owl. And I have no idea what this story is about. I've never heard of it, but I looked it up and I found a copy on Amazon. Let's see, it's by I'm gonna really butcher it, but Sadegh Hedayat, translated by Naveed Nouri. I should have probably looked that up before I tried pronouncing that. Let's see. This is the introduction. In your hands is the first translation into English of Sadegh Hedayat's The Blind Owl, based on the Bombay edition. The first question that should come to mind is why a new translation is necessary when 2 others are available, namely D.P. Costello's 1957 and Iraj Bashiri's 1984 translations. I chose to undertake this translation for 3 important reasons. First, as I will discuss in the textual analysis section below, I believed that all typed Persian language editions and English translations of Hediat's The Blind Owl suffer from a multitude of inaccuracies stemming from the corruption of an early typed Persian edition. Second, Costello's decision to translate the work with a strong emphasis on fluency has led to a work that flows very well, but which fails to convey the nuances of Hediat's pen. Lastly, I have undertaken this project because of the high regard I have for Hediat and hope that this will help renew interest in his work. So, I have no idea what the actual story is about, and there's no synopsis. But it looks like it's a pretty short read. It's only 78 pages. So I'm gonna read the story because if I want to read the novel, the other Bae Suan novel. But if I know something is based on another story or a myth, I like to have that contextual knowledge. I just feel like it enriches the experience. So I wanted to read that and then, get the other book eventually. Okay, so I have a couple more books. I'm very excited about this one. This is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This came out a few years ago. When did it come out? Oh my god, no. This came out more than a few years ago. This came out in 2012. I thought this came out like 3 or 4 years ago. That's crazy. I've heard so many amazing things about this book. I am following the book subreddit, and I swear this is like one of the top 5 or top 10 books that get recommended. It sounds like something that's right up my alley. I love books that are based on mythology. I love mythology. So I love retellings of classical mythology. So I've heard this book is very heartbreaking and heart-wrenching, and I just love that. I love emotional books. So I'm very excited for this, and I'm also really excited for the last book that I'm going to show you. This is also supposed to be incredibly heartbreaking, depressing, bleak, and it is A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. I really don't know if I said that correctly. Yeah, I'm really just curious about it because this is another book I've seen a lot of comments about. So I want to partake in the experience and know what everyone is talking about. So I'll read you the back for this. This says, A Little Life follows 4 college classmates, broke, adrift, and buoyed only by their friendship and ambition, as they move to New York in search of fame and fortune. While their relationships, which are tinged by addiction, success, and pride, deepen over the decades, the men are held together by their devotion to the brilliant, enigmatic Jude, a man scarred by an unspeakable childhood trauma. A hymn to brotherly bonds and a masterful depiction of love in the 21st century. Hanya Yanagihara's stunning novel is about the families we are born into and those that we make for ourselves. So that sounds pretty good, but yeah, I've just heard that this book is really depressing and that all the characters go through awful fates. So we'll see. This book was a finalist for the Booker when it was the Man Booker. This has one of those covers where the front flap is not as wide as the page underneath it, the page that just has all the accolades. Yeah, look at that. So, should be good. Okay, The last thing I'm gonna share is the record that I bought. It is the soundtrack for Call Me By Your Name. It came in this envelope, this plastic envelope. Just sticks like this. But this soundtrack is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Is probably one of my favorite film soundtracks. I've talked about this movie and the book a few times. I loved the book. It's one of my favorite books. I know it's a little polarizing or a little controversial because of the dynamic between the two characters, since Elio is underage and fuck, I forgot his name. Is it Oliver? I honestly don't remember. But, you know, we'll call him Armie Hammer because that's the actor that played him. But Armie is his dad's graduate assistant for the summer. He's like in his mid-20s. Elio's 17, I think I said that already. And I'll be honest, when I was reading the book, I wasn't creeped out by it because I was so caught up in the writing. Like, I just really loved the writing. I thought it was so beautiful. I just loved it so much. I really did love the book. And I felt like there was a lot of, I enjoyed reading about the passion between them, which sounds kind of icky to say just because I'm thinking about how uncool it is, you know, for a 17-year-old to be hooking up with their dad's graduate assistant, who is, you know, maybe like almost 10 years older than him. So it's weird. We'll leave it at that. But it's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful movie. It is a little hampered by the fact that Armie is Armie Hammer. You may have read or heard about his scandals, his low-key cannibalism fetish or whatever. I don't know. The whole thing is just fucking crazy. But yeah. So this is a double album. There are, you know, 2 LPs, so 4 sides, and the soundtrack is just really did a great job conveying the emotions for the film. There was a mixture of a lot of classical music, and that's one thing that also featured prominently in the film because Elio is a pianist, and that's something that him and something that he bonds over with. I really think his name is Oliver, but you know, it's something for them to share. The classical pieces are mixed with music that was contemporary for the time. This takes place in the early 80s, I believe. The 2 standout songs for me are on side 1. It ends with Paris Latino by Bandolero. I just love that song. I had only ever heard of that song because of the film, but I love it. And Love My Way by the Psychedelic Furs. Also love that song. Both of those songs I only know from the film, and so whenever I listen to them, I can't help but kind of think of the movie. They've been linked forever in my mind. And then there are 3 songs by Sufjan Stevens. He wrote 2 songs specifically for the movie. There is a remix, Futile Devices, the Dove Man remix That's on side 3. It's fine. It's good. I don't really like remixes usually, but this remix is fine. It's not preferable over the original version, but it's a beautiful song, and I think it fits really well with the film, or with the story. And then he wrote Mystery of Love, which opens side 4. So I love side 4. You have Mystery of Love, it opens with, and then in the middle is Love My Way, and then it ends with Visions of Gideon, which is such a great song to end the film with. It's so good, and whenever I listen to it, I really can picture that final scene. So good, and it's such a delight to listen to this album too, to actually listen to the record with the record player. It really adds to the richness of the sound, and it just feels so cozy. So that is that for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that y'all are doing well and taking care of yourself.